All right, thank you all so much for joining us today for our Google AppSheet demo. So for those of you who I've not met before, my name is Kelly. I work with HiView Solutions and will be facilitating the session today. And Julio from our cloud engineering team will be leading the demo itself, as well as answering any questions that you may have. And on that topic, please feel free to leave any questions that come to mind throughout within the meeting chat, and we will be answering those at the end of the session. All right, and then next, a bit about HiView Solutions, for those of you who aren't familiar. So we are, in short, we're a Google Cloud Premier partner. And so what that means is that Google trusts us and has certified us to provide product licenses, support, technical services, and training for a range of Google Cloud products for work. In a quick overview of the products that we offer, so Google Workspace, one of our more popular offerings, which AppSheet does fall within. Google Cloud Platform, which is a infrastructure for engineers to build on, sort of similar to Azure or AWS. Google Voice, which is Google's voice over IP offering. And finally, Chrome Enterprise, which is essentially management for Chromebooks. So if you have any questions about any of these offerings or anything specific to AppSheet that doesn't come to mind during the session, please feel free to send us an email to hello@hiviewsolutions.com. And with that, I will pass it over to Julio, who will lead the demo today. Please take it away.
All right, thanks, Kelly. Hi, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to attend to this demonstration. For I can see some familiar faces and names, but for all of you, my name is Julio. I've been working on HiView Solutions for a year and a half at this point. I'm a certified collaborations engineer in the workspace area, and also I'm a certified engineer and cloud architect in the GCP area. So today's agenda, we went already through the introduction part. So we're going to be also talking about what is this platforms or what is this service that is called AppSheet. We're going to talk a little bit about why you should be using it. And finally, we're going to go through a very simple demonstration. I would like to just highlight that the main idea of this demonstration is um, just to make you aware on how easy it is to build an application, and it can expedite processes that probably right now you are doing manually, right? That will be the main objectives. So uh, what is AppSheet? At the moment, is the leading no-code development platform that enables users, even those with little to no app development experience, to build powerful applications and automations quickly. Built with the latest AI and natural language processing, or NLP. AppSheet empowers organizations to innovate faster and with more effectiveness than ever before. Um, Something that I just want to highlight as well is that there was a service that it is currently deprecated in the Google platform that was called Google App Maker. So that was classified as a very low code application development kit. So even though most of the parts of the applications that you can develop were already pre-built, you need at least some kind of experience with code and application development in order to be able to use it. So AppSheet, it is completely, it is a no-code app development platform. So you don't need any experience regarding coding or how the application development workflow is, right? Um, so why should be using AppSheet? So have you ever thought to yourself, I know what I need to be more efficient. I just wish I could build it myself. If so, no need to look further. No-code solutions like Google AppSheets make app development more accessible to any user, regardless of their coding skills. As I mentioned, the main idea of AppSheet is allow or to empower end users without any coding skills to start building applications to expedite processes inside of their organizations. On the screen, we have a couple of examples of the type of applications that you can build, something like an IT ticketing system to a timesheet tracker to a delivery tracker. It all depends on your needs and also the time that you would like to invest working on the application. So for today's demos, we're gonna be just scratching the surface of the all the capabilities that you can have with AppSheet. It can be integrated with AI and with machine learning, but the main purpose of this demonstration is to show you how simple it is to create an application from scratch, just based on probably on a spreadsheet that right now in your organization you are just um, gathering data and just filling it out manually, right? So with that being said, we're gonna jump in into the AppSheet platform and we're gonna start working on it. Um, I already created this, which is gonna be like the heart of the application. This is the idea. The scenario is that we have a company that would like to start like making a more efficient way to capture all the invoices that are delivered from their providers. And there is a front desk when you have three different employees that usually receive all this paperwork. So it takes some time, like probably they do it on daily basis or a couple of times during the week. They bring all the documents that they receive to the accounting department, and the processing of those documents starts. Right, they start to add who is the provider, what is the due date of that document, what is the amount that they need to pay. So what we're going to create is an application that we can deploy either in the front desk computer, or if the user have a tablet over there that they can use, or probably a phone, that would allows them not only to register the providers with all the information that you can see here, like the provider, I'm sorry, we are in the payments. So this will be the provider sheets. Um, we're going to be capturing the name of the provider, the email address, the phone number, what type of provider is, and we have a space just to add general notes, right? Once that we are able to capture all the providers information, we're going to be able to add all the payment details. We're going to use a code or the invoice number. We're going to be specifying who is the provider who delivered that invoice. And for for some of you that already have like any type of database experience, you can see that probably there is already one field that is related to the previous tab. Like for example, under payment, under the providers, we have the name of the provider under payment. Probably we would like to list the name of the provider that we are already capturing here. So if you don't have if you don't have an idea on how to create database, that's not an issue. I will show you in a moment what is that makes what makes AppSheet so powerful using AI. And then we have any other we have another fields like what is the date when the invoice was received, what is the reason, if there is a internet service fee, or it is a fee for transportation, what is the amount, who is the employee that is receiving the document, and we have a space to create notes, right? So as you can see, this is very basic, probably something that you already use in your accounting department, or probably you have a more complex spreadsheet, but that's the idea. You are pretty much just collecting data. And then we can go to AppSheet. So the website, it is appsheet.com. I already signed in, so you just need a Google account to start working with. So I will just click on start for free, and immediately AppSheet gives me two different options. The first option is that I start with my own data, which is the scenario that we have. We know what we want. We know already what we are working with. So we're gonna start working with our own data. Also, you have the option to start with an idea. It's like if you don't have a structure already with your spreadsheet, you can just start and go through a wizard that will ask you a couple of questions about the use case or the scenario that you would like to address with the application. And based on that, it will suggest an structure, and then you can start like changing things, adding or removing parts. And then we have the option to select a sample app that is kind of like a template. It is already a pre-built application that you can just select. And then with the same idea of the previous example, you can just start to add or remove components based on your needs, right? But since we already know we're going to select that we want to we want to start with our own data. For the name, it's very simple. We're gonna use, in this case, HiView providers. Under category, when you are deploying this in either the Google Play Store or the Apple Store, this will be the category under the application is gonna be find. But you can select whatever you want, and this can be changed at any point, right? So I'm gonna just select the category others, and I'm gonna continue. So automatically the system is gonna look for the folders that contains spreadsheets. So I have the demo already ready here. So I have this listed under this folder. So I'm just gonna go ahead and select it. So right now it looks like the application or the platform is just creating like all the structure uh, of the blank application that we're gonna use, but in the background, it is already trying to make all the association possible from the data that we already provided. For those who has experience with database, as you know, you have to uh, assign a specific data type to each of the fields that we have here. So for example, under providers, probably we're just gonna enter a string of characters and numbers. But for email, probably we just need something that is gonna validate that we are entering the right format of an email address. So username at domain. If we try to enter something that is not in that format, we're gonna get an error. So AppSheet in the background, once that it is reading the headers from all the columns, it is automatically trying to detect what type of data is going to be captured. So I don't probably I'm going to just make a small modifications to that structure, but the main idea is that the AI is able to identify what type of data you're trying to collect based on the headers, right? That's very useful. And um, I'm gonna create the application and I'm gonna make some changes on flight just to demonstrate that you don't need to start with the whole idea from the beginning. Uh, you can just start with a small idea with a spreadsheet that you currently have, and on flight, if you are discovering that probably you need more data or that you would like to capture the data in a different way, you are able to do it, right? So now, um, we have the homepage in which you can find all the resources or all the assistance that the platform is offering to you. Is just suggesting what your next steps will be to add the tables, the columns, and then we have some tutorials over there. And on the right hand side of your screen, you can see this is like a simulator of a phone, and this is a tablet. So one of the advantages of using AppSheet is that it's completely web-based. You don't need to install any emulator and to install Android or iOS to see how the application is going to be displayed on mobile, right? You have it just built in. You don't need to install anything. Everything is web-based. So in the info tab, we have the specs. This is like a very, very, very broad diagram on how the data is going to be flowing through the process. Of course, since this is very, very, very simple, uh, the diagram is very straightforward. But If we had like a more complex structure or how the data is going to flow through the application, we're going to have a different graph over here. Then we have the dashboard, and here we can change the logo or edit the name or the description of the application. And once that the application is in use, here we can collect very important data. We can get usage. We can get the app performance. Basically, we can get analytics about the use of the application. We have control over early versions since we are in constant development of the application. We have like a repository on of the application on different versions, and then we have the plan requirements if you need to deploy the application uh, in your whole company or on several accounts or several users. Under properties, we find all the information that you need to provide, and this is especially important if you are planning to deploy the application either in the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You need to add all these fields. What is the purpose, the design details, the README PDF, everything that you need to provide as detail for the application. It is a requirement when you're trying to upload or you're trying to deploy or publish the application through either the Play Store or the Apple Store. Um, Something I just want to mention is that we're not gonna cover that part because it is a little bit, it is a long process that you have to go through. In the Google side with the Google Play Store, the process is a little bit easier than with with the Apple Store. But those are two different processes. We're not going to be covering that in the demo. It's going to be considered out of the scope. But just for you to know that there is a process that you have to go through. There are certain requirements that you're going to need to provide, including all the details about the application. Um, so you can finally you can publish and have that application available in the Apple Store or the Play Store. Finally, we have the error page. If we have any type of problem with the application, data inconsistency, or if we are adding a value that is breaking something, we're gonna get the error here. It's kind of like like a console where you can see the errors, right? So with that being said, we're gonna go and we're gonna move over to the provider side. As you can see right now, we already have one of the tables, which is one of the sheets in the spreadsheet. And our next step will be to add the second table, which is going to be the payments. I can click here and look for that table. But as you can see, the AI already identified that there is another um, tab in the sheet, and it is already suggesting that I should add it. So I just need to click here, and the system is gonna just import the same, well, from the same spreadsheet, a new table. And here we have like the regular properties. Here we can determine what are the users allowed to do on those tables, if they can update, add, and delete. We're gonna leave as they are, but this is something that you can restrict either from here, or you have the option to configure different permission on user basis, right? We're not gonna go there because we don't have enough time to do it. But just for you to know, you can either uh, restrict access on what the users can do from the table, but you can also set up a different set of permissions if some of them, like managers, are going to be able to delete, but the rest of the user, they're not going to be able to delete. They're going to be able only to add and update, right? That's the main idea. If you click on columns, we're going to see that if we go to, well, let's start with providers, okay? So as I mentioned, the tool or the platform already identify what type of data we're going to be capturing for those fields. Like for example, under code, we have that is going to be text, right? It will allow us to add not only numbers, but I'm sorry, not only characters, but numbers. Under name, we have name, the same. We're going to be able to add characters and numbers, letters and numbers. Under email, is going to just validate uh, the structure of the email address. And as you can see, if the AI just is making a lot of the work. Usually, when a regular data table, you need to come and just select which type of data you're going to be capturing for each field. So then we have phone, we have type text, we have notes, and here I just want to make like highlight that the system already tried to make a reference in between the two uh, tables. So for example, under payments, you can see there is a reference under provider. If we click on the details, it is just reading that from the providers table, specifically from the name, right? So that's something that it happened automatically. It's part of the AI. And for some of you that have like um, database knowledge, as you know, there should be a master key or what is going to be the unique value that cannot be repeated. So for this specific scenario, for the provider's key, we're going to have the code of the provider, and the label is going to be um, in every part of the application. We don't have an example because we haven't entered anything yet. We're going to be able to get the name as part of the label for this specific table. So um, let's say that under payments, we would like to select who is the provider that is going to be uh, assigned that payment to. The label is going to determine what data is going to be displayed. So it's going to be easier to have the name rather than the code or the phone number or the email, right? And same thing for the payment option. The key is going to be the code, the unique value, and also the label is going to be, in that case, the invoice number, because it does make sense instead of having the date, the reason, the amount, or the employee who is receiving it, right? So let's say that as is, we would like to start adding data, and we just click and we want to create a new provider. So we're going to add any code. We're going to use provider 01 for testing purposes. I'm going to use provider 01, email generic provider 1 at domain.com. As I mentioned, if for example I'm missing the at symbol, I'm gonna get an error and I'm gonna be able to save it. So it's validating the format. Then we have the phone number, and let's say that here we're starting to think about, okay, so what if instead of just leaving this space in blank, I would like to just provide three different provider types that they should be receiving. It can be 3, 5, 10. It doesn't matter. So if we would like to modify this structure, we need to go to providers, and we're gonna go to type. Right now it is on text. We're gonna go to the advanced settings, and we're gonna select enum to create a list. So this will allow us to create a list. We're gonna just add three different type of providers. The first one is gonna be transportation. The second one probably is technology. And the last one, something more simple like a paper supplier. I can add or I can select that the end users are gonna be able to add any other type if I'm missing one, but I'm not gonna do that. So I'm just gonna select that I'm gonna just save, and I just need to save over here in the upper part of your screen. And now, as you can see, we have the type. It is no longer a text box. Now you can just select it. So we're gonna add the provider one more time. Then we have, this is gonna be transportation, and we're gonna add notes. This is our this is our taxi provider. We save the changes. Now, if you go back to providers, we're gonna be able to see, as if you click on it, you're gonna be able to see all the details and everything. And something that you can control, it is how this information is being displayed. Now that we have one provider listed here, we can go to the user interface. We can control a couple of things here. We're gonna click on the providers, and right now this is the deck view. As you can see, we can just change it, like for example, to a table. It's gonna show or provide more details. Probably not the best way to have it. For this one, I think that the deck works better. And again, the AI already recognized that we provided a phone number, an email. So it's giving us the option to, on the phone, just to click directly on these buttons, and they're gonna take us to compose an email or to make a phone call or to send an SMS, right? That's something that we can do. Here in the bottom part of the screen, we can add more details on, well, some of the detail we can add. If we don't like this icon or it's too generic, we can come here and probably look for something that is more like descriptive to the providers. So we have this icon. There are several things that we can change here. We're not gonna go through all of them, but here's where you can modify how the providers are being displayed. Um, I'm gonna go back to the data, and now I'm gonna add two more providers so we can get a better view. We have provider 2, provider 02, domain.com, phone number, and this is gonna be our technology, and we're gonna add a note. This is our internet service provider. We can save it. We have already two. We're gonna add a third one. Sorry, I was going to add gmail.com. And we're gonna add the phone number. And this is gonna be our paper supplier. And this is not mandatory. We can just leave it in blank if we want, or we can just add there's none, and we can just save it. So we have three different providers. All right. I think that I did a mistake here and I didn't save the logo for the providers. All right, it is already selected. Okay. All right. Now let's go back to the data and we're gonna, well, let's try to add a payment there. Now that we have the providers, we have three different ones, and we start to receive the payments in the front desk. so the end users can just click on this and they can start adding the payment 01. They can select the provider from this list and we can determine the date. Probably we would like to know when the invoice was received, the reason this was, or the transportation. We can then just add taxi fee. We can add the amount, probably not the right format to have it. We have the employee. We would like to have decimals here. Probably we would like to make it easier for the employee just to select their name. So again, we can go back to the data and to the columns. And also, I'm thinking that probably it is important to capture what is the due date of that specific payment, so we are aware. So let's start there. Uh, oh, something that I forgot to mention, that as soon as you start adding data, everything has been captured in the spreadsheet. As you can see, we have already 3 different providers. We don't have payments because we haven't like saved any of the entries. Um, so now we're gonna add the um, besides the amount under payments on the right, we're gonna enter the due date so we can have a better idea on when we need to pay that. Since I already modified the structure of the payments page or the payment table, what I need to do now, it is just to come here and restructure or to regenerate the structure so it's going to be able to read the new field under payments. So we can have it here. We have the due date. It is already the date. And we have here as well um, the due date. Then we're going to modify under amount. We would like to specify um, there is a value type that is called price that is going to fit better. We can select that we want to have 2 different decimal numbers, and we want the current symbol to be this $sign. We can click on done, and we can click on, we're gonna make one more change under employee. We're gonna create an enum again, and we're gonna add 3 different values. First one is gonna be myself, then we're gonna add Bernice, and finally we're gonna add Kelly. Click on done. As you can see, I didn't specify how these are gonna be selected. We're gonna add as buttons. We're gonna click on done, and we're gonna save. All right. Now we have the right process, or the right format. I'm gonna just add the payment number 1, the first provider, the reason, taxi fees, and then the amount is gonna be 2 decimals. The due date is for the end of this month, and I'm the one receiving it. And under notes, none, or you can just leave it in blank. We click on save, and we wait for the application to sync the changes. Here we go. We have our first payment. We're going to add very quickly 2 more. This is going to be number 2. Provider will be number 2. Same date. Reason, this is our internet fee. The amount, it will contain 2 decimals as well. The due date is for the last of the month. This was received by Bernice, and we're not going to add any note. And we're gonna add the tier one that is gonna be the number 3. Provider is gonna be the provider number 3. The reason we can leave it in blank is it's just a paper supplier. We're gonna add same the amount, and this one probably we need just to pay it next month. And this was received by Kelly, and we can add due date is for next month. We can save, we refresh, and now if you go to any of the providers here, you can see all the details. And in addition, you will see all the payments related to them. That's something very convenient. And something that also we can change is the view when you are in the payments tab. If we go to the UX again and we go to the payments, probably the deck view it doesn't provide like a lot of information. Probably it's gonna work better if we select that we want to see it in a table view. As you can see, it automatically provide all the information that we need without just having us to take or to make a click. So I think that this view for this purpose works better. And I'm gonna also change the display, and I'm gonna add just a dollar sign. So it's gonna display here. I'm gonna save the changes. All right, so we have it, all right? So at this point, we have a fully functional application that is populated everything under payments, all the details, and also under the providers. And there is something else. Let's say that what I wanted to explain or to demonstrate is that you can modify things on fly just to make the application more functional. If you discover that there is more data that you need to gather through the process, but there are some changes that you can do just to make the application look a little bit better. Just for example, we can go back to the data and to the providers, right? Um, let's say that we would like to add a logo just next to the provider's name. So we just need to add the field here first uh, in the application. I'm sorry, in the spreadsheet. And then as we are adding a different field, we need to go back to the providers page and we need to regenerate the structure just to add the logo field over here. And we got it. So now, in order to make that, well, I just want to highlight that it already recognized that I'm going to be adding a logo and the format will be a thumbnail, right? Very important. So if I would like to add logos here, I just need to click on the edit button and that will take me to the uh, properties area or all the uh, details of the provider. I already downloaded very generic logos that I'm gonna use for the first one. I'm gonna add this to the second one. And I'm gonna go to edit and I'm gonna add the third one. All right. I just will sync the application one more time. And I would like you to notice that even though we already added the logos and we can see them under the properties of the provider, they're not being displayed here. And that is because under labels, we just selected that we would like to have the name, right? If we would like to add any other uh, field as display for this column or for this table, we need to select it as a label. So as soon as we click on that, we're gonna be able to see the logos already populated next to the provider's name. And same thing will happen if I would like to create a new payment. Once that I look for the providers, it's gonna display the same data, the name and the logo, right? So anywhere in the application that I'm just making a call for the providers table, it's gonna provide two different fields, the ones that I selected as label, right? And I know that this doesn't make the application like more functional or something, but it makes the application to look better, which is something that you can have in mind as well. Um, and finally, something that I just would like to mention is that you have the option to deploy the application through the web store, but also you have the option to just share it over here with a specific user. And you have the links also that you can just copy and send to the user so they can download it. And as I mentioned, we have the option to deploy it as a web application in the front desk computer. So it is already here. I have payments, and actually in a computer looks better because the monitor is bigger, but it had the same functionality. You can start adding and removing things. And once that you have this data already populated in the spreadsheet, you can do whatever you want. Like just an idea is I can add an spreadsheet, I'm sorry, an app script to this sheet just based on the due date, um, saying that um, all the I would like to send an email to the accounting department, to an accounting group, uh, before um, 5 days of the expiration or the due date of for all of the invoices that I'm receiving, or for all the payment that I need to do. That's just one of the ideas. Everything that can be implemented in Sheets can be taken advantage of all the data that you are gathering with the application itself. And I just wanted to mention that we are just barely scratching the surface of the all the features that you can use with AppSheet. You can implement machine learning and more AI. So the purpose of this demonstration is just probably you have a process in your company that you are doing just manually, like the one that I mentioned and we went through. That you can just simply come here and create an app, deploy it into the front desk, or in tablets or phones, that will make your life easier, or the data gathering process uh, faster, so you can expedite and you can start working on payments before that they physically come to your desk or to the accounting department. I really hope that this was useful, and I'm gonna handle it over to Kelly for any questions that you may have. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Julio. And before we get into the Q&A, just real quick, I'm going to post a link to that Google form again. So if you haven't yet, if you could take a moment to just submit your email address, then that way you can receive a recording of this session. All right, and then with that, we can get into our first question here. This is from, not sure if I'm pronouncing this right, Zariab. The question is, if we import an Excel sheet and then keep it on our Google Drive, can we use App AppScript? I think AppSheet. Did you mean AppSheet or?
AppSheet, sorry.
Oh, no worries. So can we use AppSheet on that Excel sheet, or does AppSheet only work for Google Sheets?
As far as I understand, it only works for Google Sheets. I haven't tried that, to be honest. I can make a test and let you know, but as far as I understand, it is exclusively for Google Sheets.
Okay, great. And then another question from Zariab. Can you delete a column once an app structure has been created? Will the app automatically adjust the layout, or will we need to do it manually?
You will need just to delete the column in the same way that I just added a new one. The only thing is that you will need to regenerate the structure in the same way that I did after that I added the column.
Okay, does that make sense, Zaryab?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, great. And then our next question is from AJ. Can we publish the app? I mean, did we not publish the app to see the look and feel?
The look and feel is the one that you have in the AppSheet platform. You can deploy it in your phone with a link, but it will be like in the development mode. If you would like to for the application to be available in the phone, I'm sorry, in the Play Store or the App Store, you will need to go through the process. But yes, with the link that is provided there, you can install it in your phone just to test it.
Sorry to interject. Just I meant all the work that you put in. Would it be possible for you to just maybe publish it just so that we could get to see as to what the end product looks like, or that's too early?
You mean the application that I created?
Correct.
Yes, I can share with you the link. The problem with that is there is a in the development mode that I'm currently working with, there is a cap of 10 applications that can be deployed, or 10 devices in which it can be installed. Um, there are a couple of uh, demonstration apps in the AppSheet platform that you can just enable for free if you want to just like take a look on how it feels from your end. So it is completely free. You can just enable AppSheet with your Google or your consumer account. You can just deploy any test application, and then you can just copy the link and install it in your phone if you would like to test actually how responsive the platform is.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
All right, and then looks like we've got one more question. This is from Stefan. Can we create REST APIs to fetch this data from external apps?
I think that it's possible with AppScript. As I said, once that the application moves everything to the sheet, anything that can be connected to a Google Sheet can be used. So that's something that we need to be explored through AppScript. Once that the data it is in the sheet.
All right, so that's all the questions that we've got. So Julio, if you could move to the next slide. All right. Thank you all again so much for joining today. So if you do have any other additional questions that you can think of, please feel free to send us an email to hello@hiviewsolutions.com, and you can find more information about us on our website, hiviewsolutions.com. And that wraps up our demo. So thanks so much for your time, and have a good day.
Thank you very
Thank
much for
you.
your time, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.